everyone. My name is Woldeabzghi, and I'm a third-year Bachelor of Science student here at Concordia. And today I'm joined by Nicole Dedeluk, a Concordia alumni and current board member. Thank you so much for joining me, Nicole. Can you just tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your connection to Q?
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Lily, for having me today. Really excited to be a part of this initiative and have the opportunity to get to know Q students a little bit better. So as you mentioned, I am on the Board of Governors right now, and I have been for a number of years. But I'm also a Q alumni, where I graduated from the Bachelor of Arts program with a major in psychology. So as far as my career background goes, I've worked in the corporate world for a number of years. I've held positions in human resources, business operations, and senior leadership. I've also had the opportunity to be an entrepreneur and start up a company with a number of partners a few years ago. Where we started our company, we were able to grow it and scale it and eventually sell the company. So that was a really rewarding experience in my career.
Great. That sounds like a really interesting journey from the psychology degree into the corporate world. Was there anything in your career so far that has surprised you at all?
Yeah, I guess not so much surprise, more than a realization. But I think the big realization I've had throughout my career is how much fear can be a limiting factor within your career. You know, I think it took me a while to realize it, but you are in the driver's seat of your career and no one's going to hold your hand through it. So it's really up to you to build up your skills and build up your confidence in yourself and seek out opportunities throughout your career, depending on where you want to go. It's kind of like starting up a business. You know, a lot of people want to do it, but they have that fear of failure. When really anyone can start up a business if you've got the right mindset, you've got that drive and commitment, and you're willing to put in the work. Yeah, your business might fail, and that does happen. That's the reality of it. But the learning that you get from it would set you up for success for the next business, and it can be a really rewarding journey. So I think you know, all of us have fears, but it's the people that put in the work to overcome those fears that really see that amazing journey in their careers.
That's great to hear. I think as students, often we can get really focused on like a linear path to success or a path that only looks a certain way. And that can really paralyze a lot of people in fear that that path won't happen. But hearing from someone that has gone into the workforce and come out successful, that we can't fear failure, is really inspiring, I think, and also comforting.
It's inevitable. You will fail at some point, and it's how you approach that and what you take away from it is how you move past it. And it can be really, really valuable in your career to make those stumbles and pitfalls.
In addition to that, do you see any challenges for new graduates entering the workforce?
Yes, I think that in general, the workforce is a very competitive place, and you need to do whatever you can to set yourself apart. So as a new grad, you know, a great first step is getting a great education from a university like Q. But I think it's important to show prospective employers that you do have that variety of skills and experience under your belt as well, which I know can be really difficult to get when you're a student. But anything that you can do to show that to prospective employers is valuable. So whether that's a part-time job, really any part-time job, a co-op or practicum placement, or even volunteering, those are all really adding valuable skills that employers love to see. The other piece of that is really when you do graduate, taking that time to prepare yourself for the job hunt. And what I mean by that is, you know, either working with your career counselor or even hiring a resume builder or an interview coach can go a really long way. You know, a great resume will get your foot in the door for an interview, but if you've prepared for that interview and you can articulate why you would add value to that organization, you could really set yourself apart. I've interviewed a lot of people over the years, a lot of new graduates, and one of the things that really surprises me is how many people show up unprepared for an interview. I will always ask the question, what do you know about this company? Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how many people can't answer that simple question, right? And so, if you can research the company that you're interviewing with, know what their vision is, know what their goals are and what their culture might be like, and then articulate what you'll bring to the table and how you'd fit into the culture, you'll set yourself apart from your competition pretty significantly.
It's great to hear that perspective from the person on the other side of the hiring process, or I guess someone who's gone through both sides, because you started out just like everyone who's probably listening to this as a student going into the workforce. When you're going through that process, though, what was the best piece of advice that you received? And would you share that with students who are listening to this?
Yeah, I think the best piece of advice I've ever gotten was from a personal perspective. And it was a number of years ago. I was in my early 20s and I had a really big life decision ahead of me that I was stuck on. I couldn't figure out what the right path was. And so I went to my dad about it. And my dad's a huge mentor in my life. And he gave me a piece of advice that has stuck with me ever since. And his advice was, do what makes you happy. And it was such a simple thing and such a simple thing to say, but it hit me like a ton of bricks that it actually can be that easy. Do what makes you happy. I think it's something that I've carried with me throughout my life, and I've tried to live by this philosophy. And it's something I share with whoever I can, but I'd love to share with the Q students is really try to strive for that. And it might take a lot of trial and error to figure out what actually makes you happy. I think that's a lifetime journey, is figuring out exactly what that is. And, sometimes you have to put some work in to achieve that, but never settle on anything that doesn't add meaningful value to your life, because, life is just way too short. So that's my advice I'd like to share.
That's amazing. And it ties into what you were saying earlier about how we're in charge of our own lives and what we make out of it. So it's always a good reminder to hear, although it sounds quite simple, it can be quite hard to do, I'm sure. Is there a part of your job that not everyone knows is a part of your job? Is maybe a behind the scenes aspect that people wouldn't expect is a part of your job?
Yeah, and I guess kind of tying into this whole holistic piece is I've been a leader for a number of years now, whether within my own company or with other companies. And business management and leadership can be really stressful, and your to-do list never ever ends. Like, you always will have that huge list of things to do. And I've learned the hard way a few times over that if you don't prioritize balance in your life, your professional life can really start to take over everything. And if that happens, it's really easy to lead to burnout or being overstressed. And as I've grown and developed as a leader, I really learned to prioritize that balance in my life. I think that's like a critical piece to being a strong leader, is having that balance, because you're not good to anyone if you're overstressed or on the verge of burnout. So I guess one of the behind the scenes that I do is really focus on prioritizing that balance. So whether it's a hard stop on my workday to spend time with my family and friends, prioritizing physical fitness, prioritizing mental fitness through meditation and mindfulness, or however you do that, or just working towards personal goals for myself. I think those are all really important pieces to the big picture and the puzzle. I'm a true believer that in order to be successful in your job or your career, you have to have success in your personal life too.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. I think it's really easy to let one part of your life take over in hopes that, when I complete this, then I'll relax, or when I reach this goal, then I'll relax. But there's always another goal, always another task at hand. So that's really awesome that you shared that. Lastly, I just wanted to ask, how can you help Q students as a board member, as a professional? Is there anything you're able to offer to students?
Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited for this initiative and helping bring board members closer to the student community. I'm happy to help any way I can. You know, if someone who's watching this heard something that's of interest, feel free to reach out to me. I think the areas that I might be able to help the most with is with anyone who's considering getting into entrepreneurialism or starting their own business. You know, if you've got questions around how do you start, you know, what's the first step, what do I need to do, or if you just want to explore whether it's right for you, you know, I'm happy to share the good, the bad, and the ugly of entrepreneurship, because there's all sides of it. The other thing too is if you are someone who has started your own business or kind of a side project and you don't know how to take it to that next level, I love talking about growth strategy, and I would welcome the opportunity to chat with you about that. So I think the best way for students to reach out to me is through LinkedIn, you know, connecting with me on there and just reaching out with a message. And I'm happy to spend that time and get to know you a little bit better and chat with whatever you'd like to.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to sit down with me today and let the students get to know you a little bit more and share some tokens of wisdom from your journey so far.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from the students. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.